noticed yesterday, but I did the wrong day. I'm sorry about that. I'd finished doing my preparation for yesterday or today, and then I started thinking about tomorrow, yesterday, if that makes any sense at all. And so I'm sorry, I did the wrong day yesterday. I did Wednesday yesterday, all about the being with his family, and this should have been what I did on Tuesday. So we'd finished with the clearing the temple, and it made the religious leaders really angry about his behaviour. And as they were getting angry, they started to challenge him about what he was doing, and they asked him, whose authority, by whose authority are you doing these things? Jesus knew they were trying to trick him, so he said, hey, John the Baptist, who you all really like and you all supported and said that he was a prophet from God, by whose authority did he do the things that he did? And they thought about it to themselves, the religious leaders, and they thought, oh, hang on, if we say it came from heaven, then John was affirming Jesus, so that's not good, and that doesn't go in our favour. But if we say it was just human, then all the people will rise up against us because they thought he was a prophet and we'd said he was a prophet. So they said to Jesus, no, we don't know. And Jesus said, well, if you're not going to tell me by whose authority John spoke, then I'm not going to tell you by whose authority I spoke. And they went away. And he ended up with lots of challenges like this on that day, challenging him about his authority, about who he was, who he thought he was, who he said he was, the things he was doing, what gave him the right to do all these fantastic things that he was doing, caring for the community in amazing ways, and he was just being challenged. And on and on and on the day went with these challenges. In the end, Jesus decided that he was going to go to the Mount of Olives with his disciples, and he gave what's known as the Olivet Discourse, and he gave this great big talk, a long talk about his own death and about the destruction of Jerusalem, which was to happen in AD 70. And he was talking about his own death too, to them, and letting them know, his disciples know, that he was about to die. That's a sobering thought. It's also the day when we think that it was Judas agreed to betray him. Judas colluded with the religious authorities so that Jesus could be sold and that he could be put to death. So it was quite an emotional, full and highly dramatic day that Jesus was suffering, going through. Quite clearly he'd received the adulation when he entered into Jerusalem, and he'd gone in and cleared all the temple courts, and so it was all very dramatic. It's usually called the triumphal entry. I call it dramatic entry just because it's full of absolute drama. But he comes through this day with all those challenges. All the different religious groups challenged him, and the religious leaders were having a go at him, and they wanted him dead, and Judas agrees to betray him. And Jesus, in his discourse, he talks about the religious leaders, and he starts calling them hypocrites and whitewashed bulls, that they're a mess really, but they just whitewash themselves to make themselves look good. And then he tells a little parable, and in the parable he starts asking the question and saying, so who does do the will of God? Who does do the will of God? Is it the person who says all the right things and is all pleasant and seems all pleasant and nice and says all the right things and said, oh yes, I'll do the will of God, I'll do the things that God would have me to do, I would do the right thing and the nice things, yes, that would be me, I'll do that. And then that person doesn't go and do it. And then there's another person, and the second person just can't really be bothered with all that nonsense as they see it. And they say, no, I'm sorry, that's not for me, that's not for me. I'm not getting involved in that. And then they spend the rest of their time helping those people who are in need, doing the will of God, doing the will of his Father. And Jesus asks the question, who is doing the will of my Father? The first person who said yes and doesn't, or the second person who says no and does? And they quite rightly replied, well, it's the person who ends up doing it. And Jesus just leaves that there as a parable for everyone to learn by, that actually the people who he lauds and supports are not the people who say the right things, but the people who do the right things. During the course of the lockdown, you know, that we've been doing from Gyra, we've been doing these messy bags just to try and help with families, children who are kicking their heels a little bit, and it's to help them do some craft work and some other stuff like that. And because these things cost money, we've been asking people to donate, if they can, £1 a bag, and to donate something for the Wirral Food Bank. And loads of people have brought loads and loads of stuff back for the food bank. Not necessarily people who would call themselves to have a Christian faith in any way, but nevertheless they're helping those who are in need. And they've been bringing, well, the first lot we had £100 worth of gifts, and we had 37 kilograms of food donated, and then I've taken another 2 great big bags of food down to the food bank as well, and I'm now taking another 3 bags full of food to the food bank, and all in all we've probably taken down to the food bank so far, I don't know, I'm guessing a bit because they're not weighing it now, we're just taking it in, but it's probably getting on for 100 kilograms of food that the good people of Babington have donated to the food bank. I just think that's wonderful. I'm going there now, and you're just about to arrive there with me. I'm going to leave the video running just so you can see as I take the stuff into the food bank, so you can see exactly where the food is going to. It's on Wallasey Dock Road. I'm just going to arrive there now. But I think what you have done, what have you been doing, and it's the people who are watching this video, what you've been doing is that you've been doing the will of his Father. You've been doing the will of God. Whatever it is that you profess, you've been doing the will of God. And that's what God rewards. He calls the people who say the right things but do nothing hypocrites. Heaven forbid that any of us should be that, and I'm sure that's not true of anyone watching this. But we do need to just make sure that we are doing the will of the Father. Okay, thanks for listening to that. I'll allow you now just to watch as I arrive at the food bank. I'm hoping that I can just drive straight up to it, and then I'll get out and get the stuff out the boot, and I'll be able to pass it over, and you'll hopefully be able to see your generous gifts arriving. So you can see it now ahead of us. It's between those two white vans that you can see there, and you can see all the racks and stacks of food that's all just piled up into the there you go, you can just see it now. Okay, so I'm just going to take a moment to clean my hands and then get the bags out. Hiya, I've just got some stuff to donate that's come from us in Davington, if that's all right. Thank you. See it happening. Is there more? Is that all right? Yeah, that's fine. It's from Gyra Church and Community Project. Okay, and so I've just been invited down by this kind gentleman, and he's just going to show us where all your food's going to.
Remember, you need to stay away from.
Yes, I've cleaned my hands and the handles of the bags. And I'm not carrying any symptoms at all. Okay, and here you go. And this is where it's all coming to. This is where it all happens, and it will be distributed to the needy people of Wirral. Thank you very much. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks for all you're doing. Bye. Bye. So there we go. That's what happens to it. Thanks so much, everybody, for all that you've done. It's really good. We really feel great about all that you're doing, so thank you very much.